everyone, and welcome to the Docs Huddle, your gateway to an in-depth connection between sports medicine and the latest events in sports, fantasy, and betting. Today's show is brought to you by the Health and Wellness Depot. Unlock the power of well-being. I'm Dr. Mikey B. With me, as always, we have Dr. MJB and CJ. What's going on? What's going on, boys?
Not too much. Just another day in paradise.
Yep. Happy Juneteenth. You know, I'm with the two brothers, with the brother, you know.
That's what it is. And notice that, Mike, you and I didn't have off today.
So. But Chris did.
Oh, man. So, how we doing? All is well?
All is well, man. Starting to, I don't know if you guys can see it, starting to get a gray hair to come in, man. This is
no,
not a good sign.
Oh no. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm good.
Well, happy to hear it. Is there any way you can hide it or something, like tuck it in?
No, I've been getting compliments on it, so as long as no more come, then I think I'll be okay.
So there's a slight salt and pepper adds character. That's what you're telling me?
Yes.
All right. My man. They call him the legend for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, today we're going to be reviewing our view on the NFL offensive player power rankings. We're going to go through the top 5 in the next 4 positions I'm going to mention, which include quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end. So today's going to be a little bit more fun. We decided to use a little less fact and a little bit more of the eyeball test, so we might have some more discrepancy in some of our picks. So there could be a little bit of a challenge on some of the guys we choose, but that's basically where we're going to go. And Dr. MJB, I'm going to have you start us off with our quarterbacks today.
Okay. Just to give a quick insight, how I kind of broke down my list of players, I kind of looked at stats that they produced in the past, what their team currently looks like, and potentially what I can see them, producing in the future. So with that being said, my list is as follows. Shaboom. I imagine at 1, there will be no debate here about who's the number 1 quarterback. And if there is, might have to question you guys' list. But I went Patrick Mahomes 1, Joe Burrow 2, Lamar Jackson 3, CJ Stroud 4, Kirk Cousins 5, and then my honorable mention was Jordan Love. Now I'll tell you, I wrote this several times because I actually had Jordan Love.
Wrote this while he was drinking a few bourbons. Kirk Cousins at 5.
No, what is going on right now?
List was that?
Listen.
Explain yourself.
Dude, you found the hidden bottle of Bland somewhere. What are you doing?
Listen, okay. This was harder than I thought, guys. Like I was making this list and I got to 2.
You looked at it too long and you started getting confused.
Huh?
I said maybe you're just looking at it too long and you started getting confused.
No, I didn't, and I'll tell you why.
All right, proceed.
So originally I had Jordan Love in my top 5. I know it sounds crazy, but I was looking at his stats last year and he had a solid season. I think it was like 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And then for me, when I see a quarterback have a season like that, I can only imagine what's to come, right? Like he's still young, he's still developing. He had a full season underneath his belt. Finally, you can tell he was fully entrenched into the offense. So I imagine that he'll take a step forward. So that's why I kind of had him in my top 5 originally, but I was like, that might be a little too soon. I went back and I watched his highlights and I was like, oh, that's not top 5 material. So I took him out. So I took him back out.
Yeah, I don't think he's even close. I mean, I don't even know if he fits in my top 15, dude.
So he's honorable mention. I think Pat Mahomes says for itself. Joe Burrow.
Before you jump to the whole list, I just want to throw out there that I was huge on Jordan Love coming out of college. I think he's going to be amazing. I don't know if he's top 5. That's really hard to push right now, but I do agree with you.
You'd both put him in your top 10?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I think he's going to be. He's going to be. He's incredible.
That ain't no guess. That ain't no guess of what it's going to be.
Yeah, he's going to be.
So you tell me that in the year 2024, this upcoming season, he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in this league?
Potentially.
I'm not gonna say that he is right now, but he
Potentially.
has the potential to be. He is
When?
very good.
I'm asking when, because I went off for this going into this coming year. So I mean, are we talking like 2029?
No, I'm talking this upcoming season. Okay.
Shit. All right.
Based on the stats, he was last season.
Okay, fine. But there's someone else that is not. And I know Christopher already knows where I'm going to lean on this, but I'm not going to mention yet. There's another quarterback out there whose stats were unbelievable, and I'm curious to know where he lies on everyone's list. But we'll chat about that later.
So just to wrap mine up, Pat Mahomes, I imagine, will have number one. I put Joe Burrow, even though he didn't really play last year. I think when he does play, he shows what he can do. So I'm not gonna, let that play a factor into what next season would be like. I feel like a healthy Joe Burrow, he has his weapons back. T. Higgins signed his franchise tag, so I think like the sky's the limit for him there. Lamar Jackson, I was iffy on this one because I'm still not sold on him as a passer, but the fact that he still has that dual threat ability still makes him a top 5 candidate. And I mean, he win the MVP last year, so it's like
he's won it twice now.
So yeah, how can I not put him in there? And I mean,
Yeah,
it's not like
I think Lamar Jackson has a potential to be he has a potential to be a steady top 5 quarterback. The problem is he has those inconsistent games.
Yeah,
and that comes with that arm accuracy. When he's accurate, he is lethal. But it just becomes that inconsistency. So yeah.
At number 4, I have a CJ Stroud. I'll tell you. It took me forever to put CJ Stroud in because I'm a Bryce Young guy. I'll be honest with you. I'm completely biased, but he was incredible last year, and now they have Stephon Diggs. Why would I not put him in there thinking that he won't have, a solid season this upcoming season? And Kirk Cousins, man, I mean, say what you want about him, but the man produces, okay? No matter what team he's been on, he produces. And
I think he's a great quarterback.
Yeah,
top 5 might be steep.
He's definitely
top 10.
Is insane.
Top 5 might be steep for me, but top 10 for sure.
So yeah, I'm curious to see what your list looks like, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, let's see it.
All right, so you got a little bit more organization there with your numbering. Patrick Mahomes definitely at number 1 for me. Easy. Oh, here we go. Who you got a problem with?
Matthew Stafford.
I don't hate it.
Oh, easy. I mean,
I don't hate it.
Who has if I'm not mistaken, who has the most receiving yards?
Focus has him as the number 7 quarterback by statistics in the league after the 2023 season, and they weren't even as good as they were in previous seasons.
Yeah,
brother,
easy.
He's literally 7th.
Easy.
So you're not putting him in your top 10, Mike?
No. So, no, for sure he's in my top 10.
So you're going to tell me that CJ Stroud should be over Matthew Stafford?
So I'm also doing this based off potential, right?
But for the 2024 season.
Correct. CJ Stroud, his weapons at his disposal are much better than Matthew Stafford.
True. No, true. It's 1 year sample size, rookie year. It was amazing. I think he's going to be unbelievable.
Listen, Matthew Stafford was on
Matthew Stafford, bro.
Disgruntled Lions team for how many years? Then he gets traded and he goes to the Rams and he wins the Super Bowl because he had a team.
First year.
I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Okay, sure. Josh Allen? Oh my God, bro! What?
Oh my God, we could debate that all day. Take Josh. You're insane. Take Josh Allen out, and he looks like the Panthers. I mean, you gotta be kidding me.
Who is he throwing the ball to this year?
Well, I mean, he has that issue without Stephon Diggs, but Josh Allen is a top elite quarterback.
I guess for me,
You went heavy on potential. It seems like on what they're going to be able to produce for the year. But
I understand that he's got an issue at receiver.
The wide receiver problem is a legitimate problem. I agree with you, Chris.
I'm not going to tell you he doesn't have a.
Dude, you put Josh Allen on another roster, bro. You put him on. half the rosters. You're going to the Super Bowl. Half the talented rosters out there.
But he's not. He's on the Bills.
Yeah, but he's still his numbers were still great last year. I mean, PFF has him as the number 4 quarterback after the 2023 season. I'm a huge Josh Allen fan. I thought, I'm just saying.
Real quick, I've been looking for this on the side here. Just want to throw this out there. The most receiving yards by a receiver set in a year is held by Calvin Johnson. Quarterback was Matthew Stafford. The next receiver up to compete with that, 18. I think it's 18 yards shy of the record. Cooper Kupp. Quarterback Matthew Stafford. Thank you.
Yeah, we're talking about the past here. We could talk about we can talk about Tom Brady throwing 23 touchdowns to Randy Moss. That has nothing to do with today.
I mean, it shows you he's literally elite.
I mean, you got Kupp and Nakua.
I mean,
bro,
the Rams are just not as good of a team in a roster overall. But you put him back with a top roster. He's
so okay. So in fairness, I do agree with you in that sense. Like, if I guess the discrepancy between our list is that you're looking at the individual. I'm looking at the individual and what he's surrounded by. And
yeah, I mean, he's not surrounded by anything special this year with the Rams. Bottom line, I mean, I love Cooper Kupp, but as a whole team, the Rams are not great. The Rams have a lot.
But that's why I feel like
he plays pretty good. I think they're going to surprise.
I don't think they're going to be bottom of the barrel.
They got 2 great running backs. And Kyron Williams, they just drafted Blake Corum. Their offensive line is still pretty formidable.
I mean, I like them, but I don't know. It's hard.
Pass rush, it could be suspect because Aaron Donald just retired, but they just drafted in the first round Jared Verse and in the second round Braden Fisk. I think that they have potential to be pretty good. They made it to the playoffs last year. I think that they're going to be a team that is going to be pushing for the playoffs again this year, personally, because they have Matthew Stafford at the helm.
Backing up my list. I won't say anymore.
Just saying. Oh, that's great. Well,
all right, so I'm gonna just jump to Aaron Rodgers. I know this one is a tough pick, because he's coming off the injury. How is he gonna do based on that? I know we've talked about that in the past. But a healthy Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, is who we were going. If he's healthy and ready to go, then he's going to be who we all expected him to be last year. I think he's going to look great. The Jets, again, we went over this. Our lists differ a little bit because Jets' offensive line is not anything special. He could get killed in that regard.
Well, they did address that first round this year, first round of the draft, so hopefully not.
They have tried, but yeah, they have tried in the past, but same thing.
Well, they did. I'm saying they did again this year, so I'm, hopefully.
And one of my favorite quarterbacks all time currently in the NFL is Justin Herbert. I want to put him in the top 5. I probably should have put him in the top 5. Jim Harbaugh coaching him.
His stats last year make that really difficult.
Yeah, I know. The team, again, and that's the team.
I agree.
Receiver situation is a little tough, too. I don't even know who he's throwing the ball to as his number 1 off the top of my head. But, I like the coaching. Jim Harbaugh is going to fix that O-line one way or another, even if it takes 1 or 2 seasons or what it may be. Justin Herbert with time is going to be incredible quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually like your Aaron Rodgers and Justin Herbert pick over the other 2 guys. So
you just don't like Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford?
Josh Allen just throws too many picks for me, man. Like, in big moments, he crumbles. And for me to think that him having less now, he's going to do better than that is crazy.
I understand that. I mean, Stephon Diggs.
Right. And then they lost Gabe Davis.
Hard one to replace. I'm a huge Stephon Diggs fan. Whether he's causing locker room problems or not, who knows? But he's got the talent on the field.
True. Well, I'm going to pull up mine. So I feel pretty good about my list, to be honest with you. Guys,
after Mike murdered Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford.
So let's go. Pat Mahomes is obvious. We don't even need to talk about that. Lamar Jackson, I had a lot of trouble with this at the number 2 spot. I had a couple different guys based off of last year and what position and what they're going into this year. You know, I was like, number 2 spot, where are we? I gave it to Lamar because he's won 2 MVPs, and I've seen games where like that team just wins because of Lamar. Like we literally joke at how awful in the past their weapons have been. Like we literally make jokes about their wide receiving core, and he still is producing, putting up numbers X, Y, and Z. Thank God he had Zay Flowers last year, who played phenomenal. I think that this year, now with Derrick Henry there to support him in that running game, I think he's gonna be phenomenal. I'm a little concerned. I saw him; he's coming in a lot leaner, and people were raving about how great that is. I don't know how much I like that. I like a jacked, bigger Lamar personally. So I don't know how much
only because I would be a little worried about him running.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know how much I love that, but we're not gonna. He's not hurt right now. He's extremely healthy. He's doing great. So we're gonna go. I'm putting Lamar number 2. Based off of PFF's grades, Josh Allen, the conversation we had before, I think he deserved a spot in the top 5. So that's why he got a spot. And honestly, the guy who I think I'm most strongly about in his position here is Dak Prescott at number 4. Okay, as a New York Giants fan, right, I get to see a lot of Dak Prescott. People nag on him, X, Y, and Z. The guy was in the MVP race. If Lamar was not in existence, he is the easy winner in 2023. His numbers were off the chart. He has brought the Cowboys to 3 12-4 seasons in a row. So last year, 12-4. The year before that, 12-4. Year before that, 12-4. So like they're consistently making it there. Now we can talk about the issues in the playoffs, and that's very, very real, which is why he's at number 4 for me, and he's not, maybe even higher based off of his statistics. But dude, his numbers were off the chart. Now, granted, he has got weapons, he's got this, he's got that.
Yeah, but I'll back you a little bit too, because I don't remember what season or when he was out exactly, but off the top of my head. But
when he broke his leg,
the year he was out, Cowboys were, they were terrible.
Cooper Rush did okay at the backup position.
He did do okay in the beginning.
They're just not the same team. They were not the same team. We could bust on him, and we're going to bust on him a lot because he's a Cowboy, and that's what you do to Cowboys. And that's not just me. That's as a Giants fan, exactly right. That's everybody. But when we take 2 steps back, let's give respect when it's needed. The guy has played phenomenal football. So the playoff thing
is up and down.
Is a big issue.
Yeah, he definitely is not a playoff quarterback.
It doesn't bother me as a Giants fan personally.
It makes me feel great. That's why.
So it's like they get to the playoffs. I am not worried. But just let's see. I think I'm going to give him this year, because after this year, the Roosters are going to come to Hatch, right? They got to pay all these guys, and they're not going to be able to keep them all, right? So this is the year for them. And if they don't do it, he ain't going to – thank you. See, even the show agrees with me. So if they don't do it, then it's safe to say he can be out of my top 5. But for now, he's in there. My thoughts on Matthew Stafford. Justin Herbert, I just think I went on potential for my honorary mention. I think that we still haven't seen what he's capable of, and I can't wait to see it.
So I have a question then for you guys. Mike, I like your list a lot better than Chris's. I'll tell you that. But my question is, so then where is
the only difference is Dak and Aaron Rodgers. That's it.
Yeah, I said what I said. So then you guys aren't high on Joe Burrow, huh?
No, I am. I am high on Joe Burrow, and he honestly I didn't know where to put him in this list. And based off of the fact that he missed all of last year, he has missed numerous seasons now due to injury. He had the wrist thing. I'm sure he's going to be fine, but I went off of the fact that you know what you're going to get with these guys. I don't know if Joe Burrow is going to make the full season. That's honestly the only reason why he didn't make my list. If I had to put him on there, he probably would have been number 6.
Yeah, I guess I'd back that because when healthy.
I
Joe
would put him
Burrow
right after Matthew
brought
Stafford.
the Bengals to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And
No,
I want to
absolutely.
see a healthy Joe Burrow again. I guess that's
Yeah,
where my
right.
I want
Because
to see a
he
healthy Joe
showed
Burrow
he had that
again.
big flash, and he's all potential, but
Yeah.
no
There's that
consistency.
one
So
big year.
So I am high on Joe Burrow. I put on my list right here. I'm putting him at number 6, right after Matthew Stafford.
And then I have one more question before I know we have to pivot to the next segment. But Chris, I'm surprised Brock Purdy wasn't on your list.
Purdy. I mean, I'm a huge Brock Purdy fan, but I don't know.
We know.
We know.
We know. I'm with Mike. I would have thought you would have put him at 5. I don't know how Aaron Rodgers got in there over Brock Purdy.
Right.
Or he didn't even make the honorable mention.
I thought, in your eyes, he's elite. So I'm just, what's considered elite then?
It's all right. After your
Incredible.
list, I'm not worried about what you're saying right now.
Well, on that note, Chris, I'm going to have you start with the running backs, okay?
All right.
So what do you talk to us about your running back list here?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I'm just going to throw it out there. Saquon Barkley. Hurts that he's not on the Giants, but I think that with the team that the Eagles are, as much as it pains me to say, we're going to see the real Saquon Barkley that we should have saw since he came out of college with a real O-line. Now, is he going to fit their offense and how they're going to play and run it? I have no idea what they're going to do with that, but, the Giants have had a struggled offensive line since he's been in the league, and as long as he's healthy, I mean, I think I'm leaving him at 2 for the whole year. I don't see how he, I mean, I love Derrick Henry. He could obviously slip in there being on Baltimore. He's already in, we know Derrick Henry, right? So, he could be in there. But, I mean, I think Saquon's going to have a huge year finally with an O-line that's, potentially the best in the league. So, that's going to change his career, I think, and his stance. So I think, he's my biggest pick going forward. And then, Nick Chubb, a healthy Nick Chubb, I always think is incredible. He's carried when he was carrying for the Browns, he was incredible. I mean, there's nothing left to say on that, in my opinion. And Bijan looked really good on the Falcons. So, I'm definitely comfortable with this list.
Yeah, I like your list much more than I did your quarterback list. A lot of your running backs make sense. The only one I would question is Nick Chubb. I just don't know what that's going to look like. Some running backs that have gruesome injuries is one that he did just have a hard time coming back from that. Otherwise, I think your list is spot on. I like your list a lot.
Well, then being that you think it's spot on, let's hear what you have next, because I have a similar list, but I got to tell you, mine's going to be a little different. Let's see what you got.
Okay, so
yeah, I like your list.
Yeah, so C-Mac, without question, that's the guy. Derrick Henry, I just think that everything we mentioned about Lamar and how we're skeptical with him passing, I think that's why they brought Derrick Henry in, to not put Lamar in situations like that. And I think that he'll have a solid season on the Ravens. Saquon, listen, Miles Sanders had 1,000 yards. DeAndre Swift had 1,000 yards. Saquon's going to have an incredible season this year if he stays healthy. So I have him 3. I think Bijan Robinson is just tapping into what he can really do with the Falcons. And I think he'll have a bulk of the caseload of the rushing caseload this year. So I think we'll see big numbers from him. And Jahmyr Gibbs, man, he is a problem. And it showed, I like that, on the second half of the Lions season that he can be the bell horse, man. And you give him the ball in space and he can make things happen. Honorable mention, Breece Hall had a solid season last year, and the box was stacked whenever they ran the ball after A-Rod got hurt. So I think having A-Rod back, and within the first couple of weeks, if he can show what he can do, I think the running lanes are just going to open up for Breece Hall where he can have a breakout season. So I had him as my honorable mention. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. And the more I'm seeing your guys' list, I'm wondering about mine. But I took a different. Here we go. I took a different. I don't know. But I'm seeing both your guys' lists. Is I'm looking at them okay, these are the big names at the running back position. Makes sense, right? They're the big staples in the game. I took a little bit of a spin on it, and I'm going to explain why. So I agree. I can't disagree with anything that you said.
Yeah, the only thing is, how Brees Hall is going to, if he stays healthy. Sure.
Yeah, Brees
I
Hall's
wanna see that.
health is a bit, and that's what I'm going to get into in a second with
Yeah.
mine. So, all right. So bear with me as I explain this. All right. So, MJB's face right now. So,
Yeah, this is
So-
an interesting.
so listen. So I took injuries into consideration here, right? So that's why Saquon and Nick Chubb both moved to honorary mention because as a Giants fan, Saquon was injured more seasons than he wasn't. I think that with that Eagles offense, they're going to pound the rock like crazy, which is what they should do. That's what they're good at. Doesn't mean he's not going to get hurt. So if he stays healthy, he moves immediately to the number 2 spot, like Christopher. I left him in honorary mention because I wasn't sure about that. Nick Chubb, I agree with MJB what he said. This is another guy who'd probably be number 3 in my list after Saquon. But I'm sorry, number 4 maybe after Derrick Henry. But I just don't. I don't know what he's going to look like after that gruesome injury. That was a rough injury.
Mhm.
Mike and I working with these types of people all the time. I'm not saying he's not going to come back. It's just the possibility of him never being the same is it's very possible. I'm not going to say it's very likely. It's very possible. So I just give him the honorary mention. Now, let's talk about Derrick Henry. I think he's going to have an unbelievable year with the Ravens. I think he's still got 2 solid years left in the tank before that wear and tear and that tread starts to really show up. That's why. So Kyron Williams, all right, guys, his numbers were unbelievable. Now, it's funny
They
because
were. I had him in fantasy before he went down.
yeah, and I know that we're not going off of fantasy right now, but I'm going off of potential as well, right? So many years we see running backs have these big leading up years, and then they stay at the top for a short period of time, and they slowly dwindle. I think Kyron Williams had that big year, and then he's going to have the next 2-3 years really big production over there, especially now that he's not the only guy. You got Blake Corum in there as well, who can help assist him. But the fast, agile guy, the number 1 back, I think is easily Kyron Williams. And I went off of potential here. I think that he's going to blow everyone out of the water. Versus, okay, these are the usual staples that we're used to and the big names. I think that's why I went with Isaiah Pacheco. I went with him simply because despite all the rings that the Chiefs have, until he came on board, they never had a running game. They couldn't get the running game together. Then last year, right, they don't have any receivers that can catch the goddamn ball. So you have Travis Kelce, and then you got to find other weapons. In my opinion, on the best team in the league who wins the Super Bowl, their second best weapon, you can make an argument for Snead and X, Y, and Z, but I think that the wide receivers as a whole was a liability for the Chiefs. I believe that Pacheco was the second best weapon on that team, and as long as he stays healthy, I think that he's going to continue to help them get to where they've been going. That he's helping continue their success.
Yeah, Pacheco. Listen, he got a lot of dump off passes. He was a lot of halfback draws. He helped the offense grow. He helped them move it. I think number 4 is insane for Isaiah Pacheco, though. I can't do it. I love him. I think he's a great player. But number 4 in the whole NFL is, I don't know.
Going into this year, I took a risk. I'm taking
it's
a risk.
because you went to Rutgers and you went to Rutgers, and that's it. You're biased. That's it.
Yeah. I'm glad you said it because I was gonna say it next, Chris. Yeah, that was absolutely a biased pick. There's nothing that he's done so far that warranted to be the top 5, bro.
Yeah, it's wild.
He hasn't had 1,000 yards yet. And this is a pass first team. I was like, I don't see it.
To be honest with you, the guy who I subbed out with this just because I didn't know what it was going to look like was I originally had Jonathan Taylor there. Who
I like
you guys
Jonathan
didn't
Taylor
have.
over. I thought about Jonathan
But
Taylor.
I did too. And then going into this year, I don't know what that offense is going to look like. Is he going to be back to where he was? not last year, but 2 years ago before the holdout and everything. Maybe. If so, I think he easily moves into the top 5 again. But I wanted to find a replacement for him, so I put in Pacheco. That was really the biggest thing because I didn't know what, and I was like, oh, I can validate my thoughts. Anyway, and then yeah, Bijan's gonna have a great year.
Yeah,
That's
no. Otherwise, I think your list is good. I just the Isaiah Pacheco, I was like,
So you don't disagree with me on the potential of Kyron?
no, not at all.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm glad.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I like
Not at
Kyron
all,
Williams
not at
at 3. I don't know, but I like him. I mean, he's going to be an incredible running back one way or another.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and then Jahmyr Gibbs can make this list too, right? Like, I think 5 for him is a valid spot. We'll see. I think Bijan Robinson has the potential to move into the number 2 spot.
Yeah.
If he goes off this year, he should move into the best running back in the league after Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all based on potential, not on actual production yet. So I couldn't put him any higher than 5.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start off with the receivers, considering that Mike, you started with the quarterbacks, Chris, you started with the running backs. This is obviously my favorite position group. I feel pretty strong about this one. I don't know what you can't read there, friend. It's pretty obvious. So let's go through it. Fastest guy in the league, great route runner, great hands, plays much bigger than he is. Tyreek Hill stays healthy. Dude is an unbelievable receiver. He is. There's the thing with when I think he's the biggest headache player for defenses in the league. At any moment, it's like when I watch the Miami Dolphins, I think I'm watching a UFC fight when they're on offense, because at any second you can't take your eyes off the screen because there could be a knockout blow. At any second, Tyreek Hill will take it to the house. To me, that makes him the number 1. Now, number 2, I went up a little bit more on past. I understand that he does not have a potential quarterback. I mean, personally, wait. I think Gardner Minshew is a gunslinger, and I think that he played with Aaron Rodgers, who is a gunslinger. I think that could actually mesh pretty well, and his numbers could be pretty damn good this year. I mean, Gardner Minshew brought the Colts to a step away from making it to the playoffs. Like literally a catch away until their backup running back dropped the ball. But I think that Devontae could have a very good year this year. I think that if he doesn't, then I think we're officially at the decline of his career. But I think that knowing that when I was working down in Miami and I was treating a countless amount of cornerbacks that were playing in the league, I would have these conversations. Then there's the wideouts that were there, and I would have this conversation with these guys, and I would unanimously always hear the number 1 wide receiver, the most difficult guy to cover in the league, Davante Adams. His route running is impeccable. It is what everyone should be idolizing when it looks to route running. So for me, I'm going with Davante Adams. Justin Jefferson, he's number 3. He's great resume. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year. He had a lot of issues with health towards the back end of last year. Big question mark. Personally, I know this is not a fantasy ranking. This is a power ranking, but just based off of production and helping teams win. I think he's going to take a drop in fantasy production this year just because of the quarterback position. Very, very concerned with that. Cooper Kupp, same conversation with Davante Adams. Unbelievable route runner. Super exciting to watch. That's someone who you're going to want to mirror your game off of. I think he's easily top 4 in my opinion. And then I had a lot of trouble with the 5. So I'm willing to be convinced to change my 5th pick. Ja'Marr Chase, I put him up there. I think I went off of potential. You have Joe Burrow coming back. I think he's going to play phenomenal. But honestly, man, CeeDee Lamb, his numbers were out off the charts last year. If I thought that he was going to easily replicate it again this upcoming year, I would have put him at number 5 and then call it a day. But I just don't know if that's going to be – he had one amazing season. He's been good, but he had one amazing season. If he does this again, then you can't argue that he's a top 5 receiver.
So my only thing for CD is that I just don't see who he's competing with for targets on the Cowboys. and that's
Brandon Cooks.
why I just don't see who he's competing with. With Chicago. No, because bro, the way they view him, it's a clear discrepancy of how they view him as it's like one and Brandon Cooks is like an afterthought. Like they fed him, and I don't think that's gonna change. With Dak,
No, it's not gonna change
being their quarterback. So that's why I think that's gonna continue.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
And-
he's a clear one. I mean, I'll finish. Go
He's
ahead.
clear. Oh, no, you're good. No, good.
My question that I was just going to throw out there. So you mentioned Devontae Adams because of his route running. You mentioned Cooper Kupp because of his route running. Where do you see Stephon Diggs then? Because I consider him one of the top route runners in the whole NFL.
I think he's great. I had the opportunity to watch him train down in Florida as well. I think he's a great receiver. You can make an argument that he's top 5 as well. I don't know. Honestly, when I was thinking about this, I was making this list. I didn't know where to put him because I just didn't know what was going on there in Buffalo last year. Where like there was drops, there was bad chemistry, there was this and that. Like I just don't know how to interpret what occurred in Buffalo towards the end of the year. And I was thinking to myself, like, if I'm drafting guys, who am I going to draft to be my number one? And I was thinking to myself, I can make an argument to maybe pick one of these other receivers just before him. But if you told me, Mike, he should be number 5 on your list, I'd sit back and say, okay. I don't think I can argue that. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I'm high on Stephon Diggs. He's not in mine either, and I'll get to that in a sec. But I just think the Texans have so many viable options that it's hard for me to say he's going to have a top 5 season next season based on them having Nico Collins.
If they have the year they should with those weapons, he shouldn't.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
He shouldn't. Nico Collins is a stud.
Yeah,
Tank Dell is a stud. I mean, he shouldn't.
They have
with the amount of weapons.
They have weapons. Do you see him? Because I do. Do you see him being their number 1?
I mean, potentially he can, but it's not. I don't see it where it's
honestly.
Like I don't see it where
I'll explain why.
1,700 yards and the other guys are going to have like 500. Those guys need to be fed. They're good. Like Mike said, they're studs.
Yeah.
So it behooves the Texans to spread the ball around and not force feed someone
100%
who wants the ball.
100%. Dude, we saw some unbelievable chemistry with Nico Collins and CJ Stroud. It has nothing to do with Stephon Diggs. I mean, will they build a great chemistry? I'm sure of it.
Yeah,
but
I think
I just think that like
real deal.
When you got your number 1 in Nico Collins, he was growing and getting better as the season goes on, and their chemistry continues to build. I just don't know how. I think that Stephon Diggs is going to play a large role, especially with the money he's getting. Unless Nico takes a step back, which I hope he doesn't for his sake, because I thought that he had the. Excuse me. If he continues to play like he did last year, in the way he was projecting up, dude, end of 2024 season, we're having a conversation about him being in this list.
And what's funny, Mike, is the way you feel about Nico is how I feel about Tank. I think Tank is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
So good.
He didn't get hurt. Who knows what his numbers looks like because he can do it all.
Let me ask you guys this question. It's a little off track, but last question to wrap up the Stephon Diggs conversation. He had his issues in Buffalo. It sounded like, to me, locker room issues, possibly with whoever. Josh Allen. I'm not going to speculate further because I don't know. I don't know the answer. But my ultimate question is, do you think this trade could hurt the Texans at all?
I do. For the simple fact that everywhere Stephon Diggs has gone, that's been an issue. It's not like, oh, this is the first time we're hearing about it. He's on the Texans. No, this was an issue with the Vikings. And he even said it in an interview saying that he felt like the Vikings were comparing him to Adam Thielen. Bro, say what you want about Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is just trying to play ball, man. So for you to even get into a conversation like that shows how selfish of a player you can be at times. So I think he can end up being a cancer in the locker room. Hopefully not, right? Because we want to see the Texans do well. But yeah, I mean, I think they were good without him, but adding him and if he's in line, I think they can go far. But to your point,
I agree.
They could be.
There was nothing wrong with that. With that passing offense. That passing offense was borderline elite.
Yeah.
Last year. So now you bring him into the equation. It depends on how it unfolds, right? He can be unbelievably beneficial because now it's just another weapon that you're gonna have to worry about. And if that's how he plays and that's how he acts, then it's gonna be great. If there's an issue with targets, dude. They have to spread the wealth. I mean, they have all these weapons, so targets are going to go down from Buffalo to the Texans. And I imagine that he knew that going in, but we'll see.
Yeah, let me jump in here, throw up my list because we basically discussed a good portion of it here. So I did have Stephon Diggs on my list. Mainly, I think that he's one of the best wide receivers. I think that he has a problem like you guys just discussed. He was an issue in the Vikings. Year one, he wasn't an issue. Right, like he was there for how many seasons, and then he went to Buffalo. Year one, he wasn't a problem at Buffalo. So then he comes to the Texans. If he's not a problem in year one, year two, they could have the best receiving core in the NFL. With the three of them. Yeah. So not to say that he won't kill that in a few years, based on history, but he could be really good. And then, yeah, I think that Mike, you made a good point. I think Tyreek Hill is definitely probably the biggest headache for defenses. I threw him in on this list, Justin Jefferson, and I could see how on my list maybe you want to take out Devontae Adams and replace him with CeeDee Lamb. Thought about it based on surrounding ability and team. I like CeeDee Lamb. I'm not going to say I don't, but I think Devontae Adams is still elite in his role, just as a wide receiver in general. So I had to keep him in there. And then for me, the biggest one's AJ Brown. I just think he's a dog. He's incredible.
What is this in order, Chris?
Or
how would you rank it?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, yeah. I'll leave it. Yeah.
Okay. So Jamar Chase would be your honorable mention.
Correct.
Okay. No, I love it. I have nothing to say against it.
I don't think I can argue either. No, yeah. I mean, you can make a solid case for all these guys.
Yeah, my list is pretty similar to yours, Chris. This is my list here. I have Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, AJ Brown. Devontae, my only thing, and you hit on it, Mike. Yeah, you could potentially see a good season because of who Gardner Minshew is, but you could potentially see a mediocre season because of who Gardner Minshew is. So it's a double-edged sword. You could see it go both ways. So I just chose to keep him off for that reason. But
makes sense. Can't argue.
Yeah. And I think the other five kind of speak for themselves. They could be interchangeable on anyone's list. I threw in Garrett Wilson as my honorable mention because if Aaron Rodgers, dude, he had 1,000 yards and Zach Wilson was his quarterback. I'll say that again. He had 1,000 yards and Zach Wilson was his quarterback. So I can only imagine what he can do with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. So
from what I hear, their chemistry is phenomenal too. I heard it going into last season, this season, and even though he didn't have Aaron Rodgers on the field with him, that they spent a lot of time together. And so the chemistry is definitely there. And the maturity, I'm sure, is going to be even greater going into the season too. I like it. I think that it's pretty wild. The Jets are a very interesting team. And as we get closer to the season, we'll be able to talk more about them. Mm-hmm. They have the opportunity to be really good in a contender or god friggin' awful. It's like you don't know what the hell they expect of this team because they have the weapons. They got guys. It's just we'll see. But yeah, I like it. I think that's a great honorable mention. I think he's someone that we can hopefully look to see further improve this year.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So take us away on the tight ends, Mike. We're going to finish up and wrap up with tight ends here.
Let's do it. Okay. Here are my tight ends here. I have Travis Kelce 1, Mark Andrew 2, Sam Laporta 3, George Kittle 4. And I'm leaning on this, man. I'm leaning on Kyle Pitts. the talk of him coming out of the draft was, oh, I haven't seen a guy this good in a decade, and all this other stuff. Now you have a quarterback. If it's not this season, then when? I don't know when it's going to be. He doesn't produce this season. Trust me, he'll never be in my top 5 again. So I think with the healthy Kirk Cousins, Kyle Pitts can have a good season. And then my honorable mention was Jake Ferguson.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, my big, it's tough for me to put Kyle Pitts in there. Like,
man, that's what I was saying. I can't. He's not in there.
I've been rooting for Kyle Pitts since he came out of college. I was a huge fan. I mean, I still like him. Not saying I don't, but just the production is just not there.
I'll give you honorary mention. I'll give you that for Kyle Pitts, but to actually have him in the top 5, the production wasn't there. Dude. I mean, oh my God, I just can't.
Well,
I hope you're right.
Well, I mean,
and you hope you're wrong.
Well,
the Panthers fan.
no, I for that reason, absolutely.
Yeah.
But this is the first time he's had a quarterback. So like,
no, I don't disagree.
And I feel like
I don't disagree.
If I'm adding potential into the criteria, is why I went with him. Should he be top 5? Probably not. But I was like, you know what? I'm banging the table that the fact that he finally has a QB, the fact that he came into the NFL being raved so highly, like this would be the season for him to show that. So we'll see.
Cool. Well, I'm going to throw mine up there because I want you guys' thoughts. I'm shocked that you didn't put TJ Hawkinson in the top 5. Yeah, I mean, he's just an unbelievable player. Going into Travis Kelce, I mean, obvious. George Kittle, if he stays healthy, I think he's hands down the number 2. And if you go off of different like rankings, like blocking and different statistics in that regard, like you can even make an argument that his stats in that regard as a well-rounded, balanced tight end are even better than Kelce. I just will never put him before Kelce. But Kittle, for me, he's unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? Like as a balanced overall tight end. I mean, if you just watch his tape blocking, holy shit. I mean, it's actually, when's it exciting to watch tight end block? Well, when it's Kittle, it is. I thought Sam Laporta, he is like the next best thing. I think he's gonna be phenomenal. I think he's gonna be great this year. You know how I feel about TJ Hawkinson. I think that he's going to be literally a scapegoat continuously for JJ McCarthy. I do. And then I didn't do an honorary mention because I was actually stuck between who should go 5 here. So one's 5, one's 6. I wanted your guys' opinion. Mark Andrews, I'm shocked. Yeah, I think he should go there. I'm for some reason going into this upcoming season, I feel like his production is going to drop. I've been following him a lot because he's normally my fantasy tight end, and I'm not talking about fantasy numbers. He had some injuries last year. I'm just concerned. They have Isaiah Likely, who I think is could be a top 10 tight end in this league, and he's their backup.
That's true. He is really good.
Stud, dude.
The only thing, I mean, do you say you think that his production is going to drop because of why? Because they have other weapons, or because of how he's performing?
You're not gonna like my answer. I don't know. When I was watching it, I was watching them, and something, when you just have this gut feeling. It just it's a little bit of how I guess I saw them run the offense towards the end of the year. He was coming back off of that gruesome. Oh no, he had that gruesome injury that ended him. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
I mean, I think that I could challenge you on that with saying like, okay, think about it this way. Now you got Derrick Henry, right? Let's say we decide to go run heavy. You're stacking the box. Who's going to be that guy on play actions or that's always open tight end? Like Mark Andrews is an animal.
No,
I could see his production even going, I don't want to say up, but being as productive as he was before he got hurt. Coming back and being extremely productive because the Ravens have so many weapons. I mean, how are you going to defend all of them? I don't know.
I know. Yeah.
I'll just jump in here.
I honestly, I think it's the injuries for me. I mean, I'm looking back at some of my notes. The injuries had me. Because of injuries, I had him coming down, and they also have Isaiah Likely, which I think in my head I was like, well, with the injuries, are they going to start limiting his snaps and playing Likely a little bit more? And then for me, Jake Ferguson is on a steep incline. I think he's going to be great. I do. I think he's going to be even better than he was last year for the Cowboys.
So Jake Ferguson, is he splitting with Dalton Schultz? How does that?
No, he's a starter.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. Oh, he's starting over him. Okay, I'm confusing him with someone else. All right. Anyways, so jumping back into, I guess I'll just throw up my last list up here to finish this off. Similar list. The one that I already know that you're gonna get some hate on, which I didn't have a fifth one. I wasn't set on Dallas Goedert. I was struggling to see who I was putting in 5. I see Mike's eyes opening over there. Travis Kelce, Kittle, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson. To me, they're no-brainers.
Yeah,
No-brainers. I number 5. I really wasn't set on who I wanted to put there. To be honest with you,
should have left it blank. then to put Dallas Goedert. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean,
to Christopher's credit,
the reason
PFF
he's there
credit has him as the number 6 tight end.
Yeah, how productive he is on the Eagles. I don't hate him there. I'm not set on him versus the rest of the NFL. But being on the Eagles and how productive that team is, I mean, he's gonna have a productive season. I'm not saying he's not. I'll challenge you, Dallas Goedert over Kyle Pitts if you want to go there any day. So, I'll challenge you on that one.
Fair.
But I'm just shocked that Sam Laporta didn't make your list.
Yeah.
I mean,
thinking it over further, maybe he should have been in that slot. So we'll see. I mean, I think he will have a good season as well.
Yeah.
Or even Jake Ferguson, because he had a good season too.
Yeah, I think Sam Laporta and Jake Ferguson are going to be elite tight ends this year. I do. I think that they're like the next era of tight end play.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that they're going to have a great season.
And you guys know how I feel about Brock Bowers, so let's see. I mean, I think Minshew slinging it over there in Las Vegas. Maybe
Mike's gonna be taking the risk for Super Bowl pick pretty soon.
Dude, I hope in fantasy you take your boy since you're pounding the table for him. I just think Gardner Minshew.
Listen, you can say what you want. He's brought multiple teams to far in the season. Is he a top 32 quarterback in the league? I don't know. I don't know if I can make that statement, but he's got to be close. There's a lot of mediocrity in this league. So
it's always going to be a question mark with him because he's always great at filling in. So when you're asked to be the guy, I wonder what that looks like, right? Because if I'm filling in, if I was filling in for a team, they're not expecting certain things out of me, right? Because I'm the backup. So I'm not saying that his job's easy, and no, by any means, not at all. But I'm just saying, I just want to see what it would be like if he is the guy and teams are actually preparing for him. How would that kind of fare? I'm not saying that he can't do it. We just haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, last time he had that opportunity as the starter, it was Minshew Mania over in Jacksonville, and it was it was a fun time, but it didn't last very long.
Definitely was interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
Who was you guys' biggest player that just put you in awe from someone's list?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I think I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying I don't like him. I think he's a great quarterback, but at number 5, I don't know. That's crazy.
I knew Chris was going to come for me. I knew he was going to come for me.
I mean, when we found him, I could come for Mike too. But
I knew he was coming, man.
Isaiah Pacheco. What is that? I don't know.
I got no
Dallas
comeback.
Goddard. Good. Dallas
Yeah,
Goddard is the one.
I think Dallas Goddard for me was a big one. Dallas Goddard was a big one.
Mike still had Kyle Pitts, so let's see who does
And
better.
listen, Kyle Pitts is another. Honestly,
Ooh,
I-
do you want to do a bet?
It's
What?
tough because.
oh, this is good. This is interesting.
Kyle
That's,
We're
good, that's a good bet.
We're betting on who statistically has a better season, Goddard or Pitts.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's tough because
I mean, it's a tough one for me because he's got Kirk Cousins now, and I'm hating on Kirk Cousins too, which is hilarious.
yeah, this actually is pretty funny. I think Goddard is a more sure thing, but dude, if Pitts and Cousins connection goes off, he'll blow Goddard out of the water.
TJ Hawkinson with Kirk Cousins was great, so Kyle Pitts should have a great year. He
should have an incredible year. If he doesn't, I'm ruling bust. I'm giving him 1 year.
Yeah.
So are we betting or?
Yeah, I'm sitting here waiting. I'm the bystander. So what's happening?
I can't do the bet because I think I'm gonna lose that one. Now I think about
Come
Kyle.
on.
I might just do it for the hell of it, but that's
It
a
doesn't
tough
have to
one.
be. It doesn't have to be anything crazy.
All right, why not? I don't even know if I like my side of
So
it, but
statistically, what are we doing? Receiving yards, touchdowns? Like, what are we looking for statistically? I think receiving yards is probably your best bet.
Yeah, let's go receiving yards.
But
And we can make it relatively small. We can do $100, Chris, since you're not.
Oh
sure.
yeah, $100. Sure.
Trust me, it's tight end, so I wouldn't want to bet more.
I'm just curious on this stat here.
I'm not gonna give my 2 cents on what I would do.
Dallas Goddard had 592 yards last year, and Kyle Pitts had 667. I'm not doing it.
Okay, so
He's
yeah,
got Kirk Cousins.
Dude, Kyle Pitts in theory should blow Goddard out of the water.
In theory, he should. And I'm for it. Let's see what happens.
Talk that
You know who
talk,
didn't make
man.
the list
You
that-
got to walk that walk.
I'm so happy I'm the innocent bystander here. I'm surprised Trey McBride didn't make the list because I had trouble considering putting him on there too. Over in Arizona, I think that he's gonna he had an amazing year last year. I think he's gonna have another great year, especially with Marvin Harrison Jr. over there as the number 1 weapon now. I think that's gonna free up some stuff for Kyler Murray to get him the ball a little bit more. I think he's gonna have a really good year.
I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
can see that.
Well, with that being said, that about wraps it up here this evening. So I just want to remind everyone that today's show was brought to you by the Health and Wellness Depot. Unlock the power of well-being. For Dr. MJB, CJ, I'm Dr. Mikey B. Thank you for coming out and listening to the Doc's Huddle in our episode on the NFL Offensive Player Power Rankings. Have a good night, everybody.
Take it easy, guys.